Now, aren't you sick of paying for the royal family? So asked one of my guests yesterday, and perhaps you agree with her. I do not. I think the monarchy has been responsible for some terrible things over its 1,200-year history in this country, but in its modern incarnation is a force for stability in times of unprecedented change. But is it value for money? The first thing to point out is that Britain is full of incredibly wealthy people, billionaires whose names you've never heard of and who are quite happy to keep it that way, members of a global elite who breathe the same air as you and I, but in every other way may as well belong to a different species, plutocrats and oligarchs whose lives are one long helicopter ride from party to party, from gated estate to private beach and back again. There are philanthropists among them, of course. Many, at the very least, pay a lot of tax and employ a lot of people, even if it is just to drive the Range Rover or steer the yacht. But none of them lead lives which, from the moment of their birth, are geared, as royal lives are, to the service of others. Hundreds of public engagements every year at which they smile, shake hands, exchange small talk. It's not driving a delivery van or staring at a wall in a call centre, but it's work of sorts, work they choose to do, work that many wealthy people would sneer at, frankly. And in the course of that work, they give us pageantry. We saw it on display this week in Parliament. The pomp and circumstance, the costumes and liveries, the swords, the tabards. What's it worth? It seems almost crude to put a figure on something so bound up with the history of our country, but others have done that for us. One analysis this year puts the value of the British monarchy at £67 billion. A lot of that figure is tourism, and much of it is intangible. Take a Netflix phenomenon like The Crown. Until recently, it was the most expensive TV show ever made. It creates jobs and wealth, customers and viewers, because it taps into, indeed relies on, a global fascination with our royal family. How do you put a value on soft power like that? Well, my guest yesterday said none of this mattered. All it did was the reported £85 million cost of the royal family. This is a figure, by the way, which ignores where the sovereign grant comes from. It comes from the Crown Estate, property once owned by the royals but handed over to the state on the understanding that its income would help pay for the running costs of the monarchy. The royals are, to a great extent, in effect, self-funding. Now, this stuff matters. The Queen is in the twilight of her reign. An army of abolitionists has been waiting for their moment to strike. They believe their time will come when King Charles III takes to his throne, and these financial arguments, advanced with no respect for the facts, will be a big part of their attack, which is why I encourage you, I implore you, all of you who feel goodwill towards the royals, all of you who accept that there are good kings and bad, but who feel in your bones that the institution itself is worthwhile, to arm yourself with the numbers. Start with this one. When you next hear a Republican carping about the cost of royalty, ask them how rich they really are. In a country of footloose billionaires, where do the Windsors fit in? Where do you think they fit in? Have a look at the rich list. Look for the Queen's name on it. The top 10, surely. Do try again. She comes in at 372. The royals are rich, obviously. They have money, but they also have a sense of noblesse oblige. They know that it is an accident of birth that has left them so advantaged, and it's left them determined to live a life of public service. Britain is full of people wealthier than they are who have no such interests in you or I. That's the Brazier angle.